Welcome everyone and welcome to All In, All United.
And I'm like commenting it.
I got some bars to these.
Run Ryan.
Ryan.
And here's the thing, you have players out there.
I think the fellas will take it more serious.
What grade?
That one at the go.
Yes, because at the end of the day, right now, Manchester United are
Welcome everyone and welcome to All In, All United. All right, Nico, Phil, Simeon. Fellas, the season is finally over. All right, and we finished 8th. Right, meaning that means that we'll be playing no European football next season. Right, well, unless we beat City in the FA Cup final, then we will get a Europa League spot. I don't know how likely that is, but we're still in fast shot, right? I saw this stat making the rounds, that us finishing 8th is our worst ever finish in the Premier League. Well, in the Premier League history, right? And with 60 points and a negative 1 goal difference. I don't know how true that is, right? Because I also saw another stat stating that, Sir Alex Ferguson in his first 3 years at Man United finished 14th with 44 points. Then he finished 11th with 47 points. And then in the 1988-89 season, he finished 2nd with 74 points. So I don't know, right? But this season is damning for Ten Hag, right? No questions about that because, we're still not sure if he could be here next season. But if he were to bring in Fergie's stats into play, then, I don't know, maybe we might just need to be a little patient. I don't know. Anyway, what is it?
Boy. I will start off, positive. We win the last game. We win the last game. As a fan, you have to take these wins. We know there's a lot of issues with this team, but we gotta take these wins. Just for our own mental health and be happy. Like, what, you win the last game. But after that, it's just so much. It's so much work to do. It's so much. You look at the stats. You look at the team. It's just so much work to do. The first half of that game today, I was down. I was really. I don't think this team can be down, but like every game I watch is like something. It's like a new realization of how bad we are. That just pops up, and I'm like, wow, how are we this bad? I'm glad they pulled it out in the end, but it still remains. This Brighton team. How much you got beat by Chelsea by this past week? How much Chelsea beat them by?
I think
5
it's
or something.
No. I think it's what 3-1 or something. 3-1. 3-1. I think.
Yeah. I watch this team and like I watch the talent or the lack of, and it's like I don't see the improvement, from last year. Like I feel like every year we come back in the same position, saying, we'll get better, but I don't see anything really, improving from last year. Things just look at his stats, things get worse. You talk about the goal difference. I could go into. Luton scored just 5 goals less than we did. 5 goals. Luton, they only scored like 5 less goals than we did. We talk about the goals we let in. The goals we didn't score looking like a bigger problem. and you say, but we had most of our striking players, for most of the year. Our defense was a mess, but the offense was a bigger issue. So you can't really point all at injuries. So it's just it's not much to be hopeful for, even though we won.
Yeah. What are you saying, Phil?
Well, I mean, the era of Fergie versus the era of Ten Hag is quite different. I think in this whole era, this whole start, as you as a manager starting out with a big club, you got to hit the ground. It's almost like you have to hit the ground running, or else by at least midway through your second season with that club, you'll possibly be sacked, right? Um, yeah, I remember 2023. My only words on a WhatsApp voice note to you, Reem, and other United fans was roll on 2024. And I'm glad to see that the end of the season is finally here. Well, the end of the EPL season, I should say. Still got to play for an FA Cup final, which I have very little hopes for winning. Even if we do win the FA Cup, it still doesn't change my perspective on how this season panned out. We have been absolute shit this season. Finishing the season with a -1 goal difference should tell you everything how this team played this season, right? There are some fans that want to be lenient based on the injuries we've had this season, right? Now, I get where they're coming from, but you got to ask yourself why other teams didn't experience this type of injury crisis like we did, right? I want somebody to correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we went through about 30 plus different back fours this season. About 30 plus.
Yeah.
There was never a consistent back four this season for us. 1 minute you started up the season hoping that Rafael Varane and Lissandro Martinez would, continue the good form they had from last season. Next minute it's Rafael Varane and Victor Lindelof. Next minute is Rafael Varane and Harry Maguire. Next minute is Harry Maguire and Lindelof. Then next minute is Johnny Evans and somebody. Yeah, later on this season is Kwambala and this guy. This next game is Casemiro and somebody, right? So, yeah, don't get me wrong. This season was an absolute shit show. We went through about 30 plus back fours. By the end of the day, there's some basics in football you need to get right. We didn't do the basics. I don't think we invested well. It's funny how we were chasing after Rabat for an entire 2023 summer, yet to play him very little this season. Boy, this summer transfer window, and don't get me wrong, everything cannot be done in one transfer window. I get that, right? But there has to be a chunk of players that must go. There must be a chunk of players that must be brought in. And out of that chunk of players that are brought in, let's say hypothetically we bring in about 7 to 8 players. 3 or 4 of those 7 to 8 players have to be some sort of midfielder. Have to be some sort of midfielder, because at the end of the day, we don't know if we don't know if Christian Eriksen is going to be here next season. We don't know if Casemiro is going to be here next season either, right? I've given up on Scott McTominay and Bruno Fernandes. So that's 4 guys we're unsure of when it comes to either playing a United jersey next season or just playing proper football in a United jersey. So out of those 7 or 8 players, 3 or 4 of them have to be midfielders, right? And I'll end on this here with regards to the summer transfer. The other players must be either 2 centre backs, a left back, and some sort of striker, right? But yeah, this season is a total write-off. Onana, my God. This is one season you'll probably want to forget. And we move on. That's all I got to say for now.
Yeah. Nico, what are you saying?
Yeah, all hearing me?
Yeah, we're
Nice,
hearing
man.
you.
Nice. Yeah, definitely a disappointing season. I guess after today's game, you felt a weight off your shoulder for some reason, but for some reason, you feel like you shed a few pounds. Life got a bit easier somehow. After the game today, after the season ended today, I must have a game coming up on the weekend. The weight of the Premier League today off your shoulder, felt like a real burden taken off now. And I just really the weight of the season, because normally when a EPL season end, they're like, but we had to wait so long again for games. But this season, it just had to come to an end, boys, and it would have tested United fans' resolve. If you was a United fan or you wasn't sure if you was a United fan, this season would tell you for sure, that testimeter, to tell you that, hey, now I really a United fan, because we really, really, really went to the mire with this season. And earlier, again, fingers crossed, I don't think it can get worse. Oh my God. That's it.
Don't say that, Nico.
Hey,
Don't say
God,
that.
hey. That's it. Worse than this? Nah, boy. Yeah? Oh, at least, we had the last two games, and I'm all sober in note. We had something to say. All right, we have, one or two things to work with for next season. But as Phil said, the season was a total write-off. And we had to get it right, in the transfer window. We knew that Ineos was playing the upstairs together, but we had to get it right. I don't see much transfers, Phil. I know Phil said about 7 or 8. I feel maybe about 4 or 5. But let me see how that go. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess got some comments quick. All right. So Satellite Lee on the inside, good night. He said, everyone, Wagwan. What we saying about the game today? Thumbs up or down. All right. Kidan on the inside, good night to you, man. Thanks for joining. All right, guys, don't forget to like and share the pod. All right, we're gonna get more people in on the content and the conversation, right? Justin Campbell on the inside, thanks for joining, man. He said Ahmad needed to play more, and there was no excuse. Ten Hag preferred to play players out of position than play him, and Ahmad saved him when he did play him. Yeah, facts.
Yeah.
All right, Mylon on the inside, good night to you, man. Thanks for joining. Kristen as well, thanks for joining, man. Good night. He's saying you don't have to wait long for games, Euros, Copa, Olympics, and then preseason football right through. Now we're talking about a break from Man United.
Yeah.
I think that's the point. We just need a break, boy. We need a detox from them. All right. So yeah, but I mean, we welcome all the football we could still talk about and that kind of thing, But fellas, question, we getting right into it, and I know we will talk about the game today and all them kind of things, but I really want to get into some stuff here, right? Because I mean, as always, I just be confused and just be thinking, I don't know, because considering the quality of players that we have right now, they're not performing, but I believe they are good enough players, right? Oligo really agree that we overachieved last season, because I hear Ten Hag say that we overachieved last season. Because if that was the case, barring the injuries that we had to deal with this season, really and truly, the only long-term injuries that we had to deal with was Martinez and Shaw. And I know, Nico, you have your opinion on Martinez and Shaw, right? But for the most part, Ten Hag had more or less his squad to choose from, right? So barring the injuries, we have a good squad. Then, and if we overachieve, I don't know if to agree with the fact that we overachieve or if it's just an excuse because we've been so poor this season. But what is all your thoughts on it? Is it that we really overachieved last season and we were not that good as we were this poor? What's going on? Because I feel as though Ten Hag said that we overachieved last season to justify why we were this poor this season.
Overachieving could mean, I mean, per player as well. Eh? So Rashford scored 30 goals last season. Maybe that was an overachievement for Rashford. Because let me say, how much goals Rashford scored this season? If he scored 10 at all, right?
I think about 4 or 5 or something.
Right. So let me say if we got 20 more goals from Rashford compared to last season, we was making top 4 there. Or thereabouts with 20 more goals. So I honestly think Rashford overachieved last season. And on top of that, I think you brought in Highland hoping that Rashford form would have continued and the burden would have been off Highland a bit. But that didn't happen. So I think if it's talking about per player, I think we definitely overachieved with Rashford last season. If we used to see that type of Rashford again in the future, we don't know. Otherwise, I mean, even if it go to the squad last season again, it don't have any other player you could really put your hand on to say that would have overachieved. Maybe if you want to say Bruno was consistent more or less, but the only player that really overachieved was Rashford. You know, and with that 20 goals more, we'd have been in a better position. So I think we overachieved per player than per team.
But either way, Nico. So is it that Ten Hag just? But I get your point, and I agree with the direction that you took it. But is it that, and probably Simeon and Phil could jump in here, is it that the whole overachievement last season was more of an excuse? That's that's why we this poor. That's basically what I'm trying to get because
because you really can't compensate for 20 less goals in your team, eh? You know what I mean? Because let me say if last season we were struggling for goals, then you could prepare this season to improve your goals output. But when it's so drastic, you know what I mean? To me, that is what I mean. And that is the angle I coming from now.
So basically, Nico, you putting the weight of the downfall of the team on Rashford then?
On the lack of goals. On the lack of goals in the team.
Well, I mean, to piggyback what Nico ain't wrong, but to put it on Rashford is kind of harsh. Like,
no, that's it. I'm not putting it on Rashford, but I talk about the lack of goals within the team. Because the lack of goals within the team, I think that is what have us where we as bad as we were. I think last season could have been comparable with more goals. And I think the goals last season would have paper over the goals last season would have paper over some of the cracks. Because
I agree.
We started good, and then you and all you just said we started to fall off. And he was, questioning some, the style of play at Ten Hag, even last season. But the goals used to paper over the cracks. And what happened this season, the goals dry up. So everything now, it get more clear to see now how poor we were.
Yeah, I mean, look. If you watch the stats, like one of the goals we conceded, like it's not that bad compared to other teams. I mean, it's not good, but it's like middle of the pack. But when you watch a team like City score like 40 more goals than we did. Arsenal around the same amount. And you have like Liverpool scoring like 20, almost 30 more goals than we did. 30. more goals than we did. Like we like last year we got away last year because our defense for the most part was decent. We had bad patches, but
De
mostly
Gea, De
it was
Gea was
decent.
excellent. De Gea was
You
excellent.
know, the hair was what was when he wasn't when he wasn't fumbling, he
Yes.
was making good saves, timely saves, and we were surviving. You know, 1-0 here, 2-0 there. This year, we didn't really ain't get that kind of. We weren't terrible. I mean, we were bad, but we ain't, that is not the biggest issue. Like our biggest issue this year was we couldn't score goals. Like I said, Luton scored 5 less goals than we did. And I mean, and that's the issue we've had. Like Ten Hag has been trying to solve this issue of scoring goals from I keep saying that you keep trying to find ways to score more goals, possession, counter attack. And Rashford is the has always been like the cheat code, right? You do a counter attack, and give Rashford the ball and man score a goal. That's the cheat, the easy way to score goals, right? You don't have that, and your system can't deliver goals. You can't play your way into a opponent half and score goals. It's gonna be an issue. Like we pay a lot of money for. That's my issue. Our issue is scoring goals. We spend money on all these players who not scoring. Who ain't scoring goals. We have Canacho young. And he not he's not clinical. You have Hoyland who young, who showing signs, but he's not that. He not ready for the top stage. You have Anthony, who we know about Anthony. I mean, we ain't scoring goals, and like we're not scoring goals consistently. Like watch today the first half. Like we look so inept, and like we're gonna rebuild the midfield. We know that bad. Defense. We got to fix that, but like the issue we have is we have so many issues. We have so many holes to fill. Phil's about 3 midfielders. Like, yeah, we need 3 midfielders, but you want to score more goals too, right? And you want to fix the defense. Like, we have so many holes to fill, and how are we gonna patch all those things up? But we have to score more goals, and if Ten Hag can't find a way to get these guys scoring goals, besides that Bruno long ball, we go be in trouble.
Yeah.
Let me just pull something real quick, right? Before Phil come in. I was just watching the goals scored and the goals conceded between last season and this season. And all in all, last season we scored more goals, right? We scored 58. We scored 58 goals. No, we scored 57. No, sorry, I said it wrong. We scored more goals this season than last season.
Okay.
We scored 58 goals this season, and we scored 57 goals last season. Right? But the problem is we concede 59 goals this season, and we conceded 45 goals last season.
Okay.
Right? So I think in terms of how defensively we let less in. All right? Go through, Phil.
So the way you rebut overachieving is by doing what you did last season, the following season, right? Which we didn't do. Now with regards to overachieving, with regards to blaming on overachieving last season, yes and no, right? When Ten Hag first came in from a different league, and we brought in players who had never played in the EPL before, and your likes of Anthony and Casemiro and Lisandro Martinez. 2 of them hit the ground running. 1 was still trying to find his feet. So I mean, that's the yes part, but no in terms of, like I mentioned 5-10 minutes ago, there are certain basics you have to do. Also, 1 and 2. We saw some sort of style of play and system implemented in the 2022-2023 season, right? Why wasn't that continued, or why wasn't that same style of play implemented this season, right? So I kind of get where Ten Hag is coming from, but if you have a system or an implemented style of play, we could have at least seen out or control at least a good 20 or 30% of these games and finish higher. Despite the injuries, we may have not come third this season, but we could have been thereabouts if it came to just having a proper style of play, players being disciplined, players using their brain and not like trying to overhit passes or knowing when to make the right decision. Because at the end of the day, football is about decision making, right? Football is played it up here, right? And this is one thing I haven't seen Marcus Rashford do for the entire season. We had rival players doing this here for the entire season versus Marcus Rashford, right? But yeah, I mean, did we overachieve last season? All depends on what were the expectations at the beginning of the 2022-2023 season, right? If memory serves me correct, I think Ten Hag, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, Ten Hag was supposed to obviously clean up the mess that was left by Ralph and Ole. Ten Hag had a couple of players to not only get rid of, like your Fred and your Paul Pogba and can't remember who else. But yeah, I still maintain that we overachieved last season. Here's the thing. I would swap this season for last season in that order. So I would have rather played shit like how we did this season last season and bring forward last season into this season. I would have rather that, honestly.
Yeah. Let me just get some comments quick, guys. All right. Kerwin, as someone on the inside, thanks for joining, man.
Good night, man.
He's saying all eyes on the transfer window. I'm glad the season is behind us, and I think you're echoing all the fans, you know. Kristen saying here, Ahmad and Amrabat were supposed to play throughout the season, but the manager only played them when he didn't have a choice anymore. Amrabat never got to play in his position and only came off the bench for Kobe. I don't know if you'll remember in the Champions League, against Galatasaray, we were winning 3-0, and he took off Amrabat for Kobe Mainoo, and we ended up drawing the game 3-3. And I think it was Kobe's first game back from injury, and Amrabat didn't start again. All right. Dixon Bang on the inside, thanks for joining. She's saying good night to you. Right. Except for the upcoming FA Cup final, I'm glad this horror show of a season is over. Yeah, of course. Facts. Right. Aaron on the inside, good night to you. Yeah, so I hear what you say, and I think it's a safe excuse for a manager to use to protect, himself in what we're seeing as a horrific train wreck of a season. It's easy to say, we overachieve. Right now, I think the season started off pretty well, and I think it was only as the new year broke, right, is when we started to see a bit of a drop off with in terms of performances, and that
this season,
no, last season. But
last season, okay.
Yeah, but the break of the new year, which would have been 2023 of last season, that's when we would have seen the drop off because players were run to the ground. You understand? Ten Hag was running them fellas to the ground. Again, a complaint that we had about him even this season, not using your full squad. You understand what I'm saying? So I think for the starter last season, up until the Carabao Cup and a little bit after, the team were playing some of the best football. You understand? We identified our issue was goals, but we were playing well. We were not getting run over by teams. That for me, when it started to happen last season, it was a consequence of fatigue. Right, because a lot of the players were overplayed. But when they come into a new season, you understand, from game one, let me go back from preseason match 1. You're seeing some issues that you realize, wait now, I've seen an issue here, I've seen a problem here, but what going on here? What going on? The style of play have some changes to it. And then match day one, you see it, and it's a fix. And we questioning this thing from match day one till we here at match day 38, and this is only Premier League football. Then I find it very, very convenient blaming or trying to say last season was an overachievement. You know, so now I know again, as I was saying, I real conflicted with this team and this, because we know how the new manager bounced this work. So we could also attribute it to that. But then again, I see so much things that Ten Hag supposed to do better or he is responsible for. I think his mismanagement of his squad is what has caused us to be where we are today in terms of this poor season.
I mean, yeah, but I ain't gonna say but I'm gonna say but you can't ignore, man, like the lack of quality. I mean, we talk about quality players, but like I struggle to see quality sometimes, man. Like today, I look at Arambat. Like I was praising him man the last game, and like we have, and
You're
like
pull out your hair.
yeah, he's emblematic of the kind of players we recruit, man. It's like they can do one thing good, and it's terrible. They can't do something else. It's like we don't have them. I mean, the man playing because he's good in defense, and the man can't pass the ball 5 yards. I mean, 5 yards ahead of him, literally. Like I watch him play, and so like the man say, we see the Brighton man coming up right behind him, say, pass the ball. We yell at the TV, pass the ball, get ready the ball. The man just sleepwalking.
Sleeping on the pitch.
Like, yeah, it's like what wrong with him, man? It's like, but you have to play. But you have to play him because you have nobody to protect the defense. Like he's decent in defense. Like he's the only one that can run. It seems like literally he's the only one in midfield that can run properly. You can't trust McTominay. Ahmad is not that guy. Ahmad have to play because he could track. He could block. He could run down people. And tackle people because nobody else can do it. Like we have too many one-dimensional players. We don't talk about Basaka. I like Basaka. Basaka could, he could do, but he can't. We can't carry him. We can't carry him. We can't carry that and be and contend with the top team.
When they say I like Basaka, you know him personally. He's a good person. He does
No, I mean, I like the slide tackle. I like he's a shutdown. We call him, in American football, a shutdown corner. Like 1-1 on ball slide tackle. It looked real good, but the man can't do anything else. It's like, but we can't. I realize this season we can't carry that man anywhere. We gotta drop him off, but he bust up and leave him there. I mean, I like him, but we can't get better. And you watch the team and so many players like Dallo is going to be one of the best players of the year because he can do both. He's not great at any feature, but the man can do both. And I watch this team, and it's like we have too many players that just are not that level. All the great teams we've had before, we had guys that could, play, score goals, put passes in, but also tackle at the same time. We don't have that anymore. We just have the quality that we talk about. Just as far as a team, our team building is just trash. But straight up trash.
But let me just pause this there, right, Simeon? And I don't necessarily disagree with you, but and I think we mentioned this in our pod in the past. For me, it comes down to coaching because we play Luton Town and they were better than us, right? We play Sheffield United and they were the better team on the pitch. So many teams where the quality of the players, when they compare them to our players, they're not better. But yet they were better on the day, right? So that for me, it goes down to the quality of coaching and a game plan. Because I'm telling you, me and Nico was talking this week, right? And we were talking about Ericsson. And I was telling him, I said, when Ericsson was playing with Brentford, Nobody was talking about how slow he was and how dead his legs were. But you're coming on Man United team now, a poorly coached team, and everybody had a whole about to say about Ericsson. So this is why I'm saying it's very easy to look at a season where you perform well, and because you find yourself in hot water, to watch the last season and say we overachieve. And that's why, and that's where my issue is, because I think where we at right now is as a result of lack of coaching, right? Certain critical decisions that you made in terms of overplaying players, and now the struggling with fatigue, and then changing dynamics of a system, and now you're asking yourself why the team playing poorly, and that's why I say it.
I think it's a consequence of a poorly constructed team. And if I have to blame Ten Hag for something, I'll blame him for the construction of the team. Because really, I could tell you, you bring Luton coach, you bring Sheffield coach in the same United team, and you put Ten Hag on the opposite side, and it will be the same thing. We will be saying the same thing. I think the construction of the team is the problem, and I think that is what we have to get a handle on, because we can't. I mean, as Simeon saying, as much as Amrabat was good over the couple games, but Jed, that can't be levels, Wait, go ahead, Phil. Go ahead.
Let me get Simeon before you come in. Let me just say one more thing, right? Let me just say one more
Yeah.
thing. Because and I hear what you're saying, and I don't necessarily disagree. But my thing is, again, I'm making I just want to go back to the point I make with Christian Eriksen. If you play, yes, the team would have been constructed poorly. But if this is what you have, then you have to play to the strengths of the players that you have. I understand that you want the team to play a particular way, but you can't blame, and I'm talking about Ten Hag here, but you can't blame nobody else if you know you wanted to implement a certain system and you went and you recruited poorly, right? You can't blame nobody else for that. So if you find yourself in that situation, then you have to, be flexible and say, well, hey, what's going on? All right, I had to bite the bullet this time. I might have to change my philosophy. Let me go a little more pragmatic because that's the players I have. And that, for me, will show you, well, okay, probably the team not constructed to play this style of football. Let me play the team in a system where they're most comfortable. And probably next season, I would look to now try to move a little closer to the way I want the team to play with better recruitment. Because, I mean, Pep came in, Pep made mistakes in terms of signings, and he sell and buy again. We don't have a luxury at Man United. You know, so Ten Hag had to, and this is why I'm talking about the flexibility I'm talking about from a managerial point of view.
Yeah, but I think with a different manager might have been fighting relegation. I pro Ten Hag, but a different manager, I honestly feel that be fighting relegation. But anyway, let's fill out on this one.
I think Ten Hag had a plan A with certain players in mind, but he did not prepare in terms of like a plan B and C, right? And by that I mean he probably didn't expect Malacia, Martinez, Mount to be out for quite a while, right? He did expect to be improving on last season, right? But that's not how football works, right? At the end of the day, you must always have at least 4 or 5 plans when it comes to this game called football. Ten Hag was a bit naive this season where he would expect some of his substitutes to have the same output as some of his first team starters, right? He's probably expecting like the likes of Johnny Evans and Harry Maguire to display this type of high football IQ that Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane depicted last season, right? That didn't work out. Then the naivety kicked in when he keeps on starting certain players over and over and over and over
You could say
again.
Rashford. You could say Rashford, and you could
Well,
say Anthony.
I get into
No, you
Rashford.
could say Rashford, and you could say Anthony because
Yeah, I get into them soon, right? Because at the end of the day, we as a fan base under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, we were tired of seeing favoritism. We were tired of seeing Scott and Fred starting all the time. We were tired of seeing Harry Maguire starting all the time. We were just asking for a manager to not have favorites. If you play well, you were awarded or you were rewarded a start the next game, right? If you play consistently well, but you may have a bad game every now and then, you wouldn't be immediately dropped. But on the flip side, if you play consistently shit, you should not be awarded with another start. And I'm talking 4, 5, 6, 7 games of playing shit in a row, where maybe one out of those games was like a 6 out of 10, and the other games were like a 2 or 3 out of 10, right? We as fans were asking for that. Ten Hag came in, said that there'll be no favoritism. Players have to work for their start on the field. And he sold us that dream in the 2022-2023 season. We saw him how he handled the Ronaldo situation. We saw him how he punished Rashford when he was late for training. I'm really okay, fair enough. But then, like, when these players play shit in the 2023-2024 season, you're still awarding them, in quotation marks, with plays with a start the next game, right? At the end of the day, as Reem mentioned, man management, coaching, discipline, right? At the end of the day, you go across to the guys who just won the 4P. Pep Guardiola does not start the likes of Jack Grealish and Doku often. Yeah, your talisman like Haaland and Kevin De Bruyne will always be starting, right? But if you come back over to us now, when you got the likes of Bruno Fernandes, Rashford, sometimes Garnacho stinking up the place, then you turn to your bench and you're like, I don't think these guys can do it. That's where you kind of fooled us. You kind of scammed us, because at the end of the day, in your first season, Ten Hag, you promised no favoritism. You promised that all players have to work for their position. Lo and behold, this season, you are now the Dutch Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ten Hag, I can say it now, and I don't know if anybody has heard me say this now. Ten Hag, I'm giving you till the end of this year. I'm giving you until December to change things around. And by that, I mean you must be in and about around the top 4. You don't have to be in the top 4, just around there sniffing at the top 4, because at the end of the day, Liverpool, Arsenal, City are the teams that we have to be chasing. If you can't fix it around by this year, December, sayonara. Sorry.
Agreed.
Yeah. And the thing about it, all these other clubs, you're seeing people making movements. Say, I think West Ham, done with Moyes. Liverpool, they already appointed a new manager who, again, they Zerbi leaving Brighton.
Bayern Munich, Barcelona. No, wait, Barcelona's sticking with Xavi. Yeah, I just read that.
So it has so much things done happening already. I mean, anyway, I get some comments here. 2 comments we have here. Anderson the Inside, thanks for joining, man. He's saying 15 games to go, and I said if we got to 70 points, we should be winning 10 games, and not including potential losses to Liverpool, Arsenal, and City, right? We would have gotten Champions League. We lost so many winnable games, which everyone has to take responsibility for, all right? Christian saying here, I agree with Simeon with Amrabat passing, but he offers the protection to the back 4, and we needed that throughout the season. I think Ten Hag saw that game, that same thing, and chose men who could pass better. And it's one of the reasons why we were so open in midfield. This is why I say he's stubborn. I agree, Amrabat is not top quality, but our back 4 needed protection, and he went and he
went with players, I guess.
Yeah. Same thing with Ahmad. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if Simeon had anything to say before I move on.
About to Arambat thing. I mean, yeah, but it goes back to we talk about we can't get rid of players and bring in players at the same quality. We can't go sideways. We can't have Fred, who had good games sometimes, protected back four, you know, ran back, but sometimes he had bad passing games. So we get rid of Fred and we went and get Aaron back. So where's the improvement? I mean,
Actually gone back.
that's what I'm talking
Actually went
about
back.
team building. That it can't go backwards, sideways, backwards. And this is my, we have Ineos now and we have hope. We have some people upstairs that can make some footballing sense, but we have to see. We at this point now where one more bad transfer season and we done. I mean, we 10th place next. I mean, every team out there have some money. Some have more than us. They have European football, so we didn't have that much money to spend to begin with. We have to make smart footballing decisions. We can't have any more iron bats coming in. We have to have two-way players, guys with speed, physicality, brains. I mean, is that too much to ask for? I feel like we in FIFA and you have a small team and a gear budget, and like you try and pick, okay, I need a forward. I can't get overall good forward, so I'll get one with speed. So you might have no physicality, get one with speed, or one get that can shoot. Like, I feel like why are we doing that? We're United. Why we have players that don't have those qualities? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah. I think we recruitment in a real shamble, and I think we paying for that. And as I say before, other teams, it's not like long time when use the powerhouse and you can take advantage and bully all the other teams. You're like, oh, Bayern Munich just do in Germany. When they realize, wait, now Dortmund threatening we. All right, you want to take the striker. Teams telling you no, or if they're telling you 100 million. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, it comes down to coaching and proper recruitment. And if you don't have them things done, you're in trouble. You understand? You could pay how much money to get anybody here. Now I'm telling you, we could make players come here and look like crap. Good players. You understand what I'm saying? Jody on the inside, blessed night, man. Thanks for joining, Jody.
Hey, Jody, good night.
Good night, Jody. Good night.
Anderson saying here, Ten Hag construction of the team has been awful. Spending 110 million on Mount and Onana when a defender and a defensive midfielder was needed. And not only that, we just identified earlier that the issue wasn't necessarily the goal, wasn't necessarily defenders. It was more getting a goal scorer, proven goal scorer to increase how much goals we're scoring. You understand? So we didn't even probably need to sell the here. I mean, I don't want to sound like a revisionist.
You didn't let him go, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we didn't even have to let the hair go. It wasn't that deep, We needed a proven goal scorer, right? I mean, history will tell you. I mean, and Nico mentioned it, but Rashford don't have that consistency. So for you going into next season, expecting Rashford to get to you again was foolish, I have this here, right? Now, I don't know De Zerbi no longer going to be at Brighton next season. And that came as a shock to even their fan base because a couple of days before in his press conference, he said, well, I love the club, blah, 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 blah. But this was De Zerbi this evening. He said, there isn't any club behind me. No one offered me a job as yet. I hope to work in the Premier League again. I don't know where or when. People be sending all kind of subliminals, right? And we know a lot happening, a lot of talk going on with, Ten Hag being, we're not sure. But what do you make of this? What do you make of this sudden turn in decision from De Zerbi a couple of days ago? I ain't going no way. I love this club. I'm staying. To De Zerbi. This is De Zerbi's last game against Manchester United.
I don't think I had anything to do with United, to be honest. I don't think it linked subliminally in any way. I think we had some issues upstairs, and they decided to move on. And then too, as much as they have been playing a decent brand of football, they have been even worse than United in terms of um, the position they at now. In the Europa League, Roma dismantled them. So I don't think I anything United. I just think they moving on from him for whatever reason, and and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, oh, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Nah, I mean, it's suspicious, man. I mean, like he had like some more time left for his contract, right? So like, nah, I ain't buying that. And what I mean, it was always going to be suspicious. But what caught my attention is that he hopes to work in Premier League again. So that just go ahead, Phil.
Well, my question is De Zerbi taking a break from football? Is this similar to what Pep did when he left? Was it Bayern or Barca? I can't remember. I think it was Barcelona, yeah. Or Bayern, can't remember. Yeah, De Zerbi with these type of subliminal messages. I can't think of any club in the EPL that has already gotten rid of a manager that De Zerbi would take their spot per se. Like, I don't think any top 6 clubs will want De Zerbi. Or let me include Manchester United. Any top 8 clubs are going to want De Zerbi. It almost seems like De Zerbi's taking a break from football, 1, or 2. A club outside of EPL may offer him a job for 2-3 seasons, and then he comes back to the EPL. However way we all decide to read it, it's not going to be wrong, right? But this has nothing to do with Manchester United. If you had mentioned like Thomas Tuchel, then we can have a conversation because his name has been floating around when it comes to the United job. We don't know if Ten Hag is going to be given the Van Gaal treatment, where won the FA Cup, sayonara. Or your last fixture for United, your last fixture for United was an FA Cup, and then you left, right? So we'll see. But this has nothing to do with
you never know. But I don't think it has anything to do with United. But you never know.
I mean, how I see it is this guy, Dan Ashworth, right? When he was at Brighton, I think he was key. He was the one who identified Robert De Zerbi.
You sure he was not Newcastle as yet?
No.
You sure Dan Ashworth didn't identify Gareth Southgate?
Nah.
I think it was Graham Potter.
So who was that? Who was that identified Gareth Southgate?
I don't know. But I know it had some connection with Dan Ashworth and De Zerbi. Okay. So the fact that he's leaving and Dan Ashworth coming to United, you're seeing. Now, I'm not disagreeing with what Nico saying, what Phil saying, I'm not disagreeing. I just, I just looking at possibilities here and where you can establish links. Now, it might come out to nothing, and Ten Hag might be here for next season. But what I'm saying is, sometimes when there's smoke, you could never deny it's a fire. So,
but to me, it's no smoke with United, though.
No, but the thing about it is we go be looking for a manager. The talk is that Ten Hag days numbered, and De Zerbi is another available manager.
So that is smoke there. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Because all kind of name trade up. If people trade Southgate name and this, you understand? Then John might as well put his name in the not so John. Just might as well put his name in the capital. You understand what I'm saying? Because we digging at the bottom of the barrel. Right, so get it.
But you never know. I know put my head on a block to say it don't have no links. But I don't think so. But you never know.
Yeah. So, fellas, we know that we're not in Europe next season, right? I mean, bar we could pull off a miracle and beat City. But what do you think, or what positives we could take from this team not qualifying for Europe, for European competition next season? What positives we could take from that?
One game a week.
No, let me knock back at that one time before you. So let's start that because we had one game a week for months since January, and that had changed nothing, right? So go ahead.
I still sticking to that one game a week. We have no excuses when it comes to players getting rest. No. A lot of people were saying that because we're not going to be playing in any form of Europe that we can't attract any players. And that's not true. Because I always remember Zlatan, Di Maria, Falcao, Paul Pogba all came to Manchester United and we weren't in Europe, right? So maybe it's because Van Gaal is like a pedigree manager, right? And quite a few players know of Van Gaal. Do quite a few players know about Ten Hag? I don't know, but we'll have to see. But in terms of the positives, players getting rest because you got one game a week, but even with the coaching staff, right? The coaching staff plus Eric Ten Hag plus the board has more time to formulate some sort of plan when it comes to one, reviewing the game before, how we played, what we did well, what we did wrong, and trying to rectify those poor decisions in a previous game and trying to get those decisions right for the next game, right? It's not like there's a short time window where you play shit on Saturday, the team got to travel to some place in Romania or whatever in Europe to play against a team, so you got a little bit of time to formulate something. No, you have an entire week. The only thing that will start to get with regards to small time is when Carabao Cup and FA Cup playoffs come, and that's about it. But that's my positive per se if I'm nitpicking.
Yeah, my positives will be some of them players who play rubbish this season and are cutting the pay, right? I the positives. Another one is now Ten Hag definitely had no way to hide, right? You know, he had no way to hide because it's one game a week. And you're playing fifth four, then again, you know what I mean? To even the fans who, you know, pro Ten Hag, you know, it will show that, hey, you know what, maybe Ten Hag really out of his depth because you have one game a week and you're still now, you know, producing the goods now. So I think to me that is some of the positives. Of course, gelling the team, you know, hopefully, you know, I mean, whatever team he put together this season, or whatever team United put together this season, we're not sure if Ten Hag will be there. Hopefully during the week we'll have time to gel. Hopefully, you know, under which manager, if it's Ten Hag or who. I think that is some of the benefits of the one game a week. Yeah.
I mean, I don't see much. I mean, the only benefit really is like what they said is the rest. I mean, you have a big summer coming up for a lot of players, a lot of football being played. You know, last year, this year, so our players might get some more rest. I mean, but the money lost from not going to those, not being in the Champions League and and, you know, even the Conference League, that's a lot as far as when you talk about the FPP, just to call it. Yeah, I mean that worries me. And I do worry about players not wanting to come here and play because not just because Europe, but because if you have less games, with less chances to play. Like if you're a player and you know you have Rashford still there, you have Anthony still there, you have certain players still there that Ten Hag likes to play. What are chances he gonna play if it's one game a week? So I mean that's my only issue with one game a week.
I finally give him more negatives than positives. Let me get some comments here, but I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is, right? And this one saying here, if funds are limited, why spend on positions not needed? And I think that was relation to our previous discussion that we were having in this pod, right? Jody saying here, we did not let De Gea go. He chose not to sign a new contract to be second fiddle to owner. All right, De Gea lawyer. All right. Yeah. Doing on the inside good night.
But if you just say he end up being number one, so you make a mistake. If you really stay, he end up being number one. But then that's stubborn too.
Stubborn. Yeah. You telling me through this whole season by they only get one game? That is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's terrible.
All right. Anderson saying here, no, Europe is good time to build a proper team to compete in Premier League. All right. Jody saying here, what rest players get in is Copa and Euros. Them players will be in. No positives to take away. There's more therapy next season. Jody, any heavy vibes. I actually think it might help us in the transfer market. You know, because normally with European competition, you need squad depth. You know, and I think seeing the fact that, you know, just the Premiership primarily with the cup competitions, we can afford to take the time building the squad. You know what I'm saying? So we could lose more players without having to replace same number. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So we can afford to get rid of more players without having to bring in so much more to have the depth to compete on all those different fronts. So this is why I think that's a positive. You know, Phil was saying 7. I hope it's 7, but we might lose. We could afford to get rid of more, because even Ten Hag, I mean, that is provided that he would still be here. He likes to work with a smaller squad, right? So he might have his smaller squad, and then on top of that, you know, we might see more and more young people, youth players, getting opportunities to come in. You know, because you saw a lot of the young players, the Wheaton fella, is Wheaton, is his name? The striker? Wheatley.
Ethan Wheatley, yeah.
Right, we see Wheatley, we see Kambwala, and I think we saw some other Forsen, and then some others who made the bench for a couple of years. Gore coming back, right, because he was on loan and he got injured, so he as well back. So it might mean those players might stay rather than going on loan, and they go provide the depth now. So that is the positives I see. And more youth players go get opportunities, and we may not have to rush to build squad depth of senior players because we don't have all those fronts to compete on.
Well, yeah, I know we got one more podcast session to review the FA Cup final, but we could also find some time to do a session for, I don't know, keep bench, sell, and see and give some reasons as to why this player should stay at United. Give some reasons why this player needs to go, and then also pitch some potential players that could come to United. Potential / realistic, right? But yeah, that's totally up to you guys, though.
No, that's definitely on the card. That's definitely on the cards, you know. So of course. Jody saying here, it's not heavy vibes, Reem, it's reality, and a lot of people not getting that. Jody, the reason why I'm saying it's heavy vibes is because what was the point he was making?
What they hear?
No. He said it's not. He said more therapy next season, right? So it had no positives really to take away, right? But I think when you look at the work being done upstairs, I think everything happened in the right time for us to do something sensibly in the transfer market that could really make next season, you know, be an improvement. Because I mean, we talk about it here on the pod. Liverpool changed out an entire midfield in one transfer window.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that is where the optimism for me coming from. We have the right, we putting the right people in place. We're not going to sit there and change out the whole team, but we know players leaving. And once they recruit the right players and give Ten Hag the right directives, if he's still here and he up for it, then I think we could do better. So it's a positive to take away, Jody. So as Phil say, we definitely have that in the cards. So look forward to that, fellas. We're gonna do our next show to rate the season, but off the cuff, fellas, rate the season out of 10. We get that quick and then we go wrap. The season out of 10.
3.
Yeah, if this was a report card, this is a D plus.
So you got a plus in that?
The plus is for Kobe Manu and Dalo. The D for the other idiots.
Alright.
Ahmad too. We're throwing Ahmad under the plus.
Fair enough, yeah, Ahmed.
Nah, this 4, man. That's a 4. I mean, not enough positives with this season. We went backwards. We took some swings and we missed. This was a bad season and like a revealing season. I mean, it just kind of, it felt like you see like all the issues we've had over the past decade just kind of showed up and just said, the injury, the fitness department, the recruiting, the characters, just everything kind of showed up this year. You look at the stadium roof was, the roof, the whole stadium was. I mean, it just kind of showed like, yeah, like if you don't fix it, if you don't take care of your business, if you're a house and you don't take care of it, one day you go find, it's rotten core and you have to, break the whole thing down and start over again. Like, I just feel like this year was a where it showed how far back we fell on all levels. I mean, it all adds up. Injuries, we finished 8th. I mean, all the big, even Chelsea come back. All the crap they would. Chelsea come back. I was laughing with Chelsea for us, but now they come and they pass us. Newcastle, we laugh. Newcastle had a bad patch. They can't come back. They come back and pass us. Like all the teams that trying to win ahead of us. For the most part. I mean, who behind us? West Ham. I mean, they ain't really. I mean, it is West Ham. Who coaching West Ham now? Moyes or was? And he get fired. So I mean, this season was. I consider this season the bottom. Like this should be the worst we do because all our mistakes have come to bear. And damn the Glazers who took forever to get out the way. It reminds me of the stadium. I keep going back to the stadium flooding. It's a perfect metaphor for this team. Who was there when the stadium was flooding? It wasn't the Glazers. It was who? It was Ratcliffe. So he signed up watching his team play, roof leaking, and the Glazers back in Miami, Florida laughed like it just looking like it's like that's how it is. Just leave Ratcliffe there to hold his team and try and figure out how to fix it. And we as fans look at Ratcliffe like save us, do something. But you have a whole team organization that's been run for years. And other teams have passed us by, and you gotta try and save it. I mean, I hope they can stop the leaking now, because it's real bad.
Yeah. Well said. And I think you speak for everybody. You speak for the entire fan base. Jody saying here, Remus, every year we keep saying the same thing about getting the right players. All right. Yeah, but the only difference we could say now is we have somebody, we have something set up differently in terms of footballing department, recruitment, a CEO, a director of football. We have people who in the know, holding these positions now without having a say. So that is why we positive. If it was Glazers, then I think we could have been just like you, very pessimistic. But I have a little bit of faith, seeing that the changes upstairs were done. So that's why I kind of positive about it, right? Out of a season out of 10, 1, because we finished the lowest ever since God knows how long. Welcome to the theater of streams, fellas.
Yeah, real excited. I see a man when I give it in flippers.
The Newcastle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dwayne saying I give it a season at 2. Hey, I remember at the start of the season when Dwayne said Newcastle was going to do real thing this season. Dwayne, I ain't hearing you. And listen, saying here with the new structure, we have to give a chance to see how it goes. That precisely, Dwayne saying here, we are Manchester United. There's no way we can be satisfied with anything this season. Facts.
The only thing for me you can be satisfied with is the change upstairs.
Yes.
And some of the figures that left upstairs, and really bringing in footballing people. I think that's the only positive we could really take from this season, and hope it be a fruit, because still, as much as all that will happen, we are sure it will be a fruit, right? So.
Yeah. But I mean, anyway, they find the hyena or something, so things should be good from now going forward.
like one of them fellas who was there, Woodward or whoever was there, they may be buried there, to keep them there as long as possible.
Jody saying here, chance to say you feel this raffle more. Come on, Jody. Come on, man. I know it's upsetting, and it's a long time we sit on there, we hoping, but I mean, as everybody's saying, everybody echoing the changes upstairs, is I think it's good reason for some form of optimism,
Yeah.
So guys, I think that brings us to the end of the pod.
One shout out is to the winner of the fantasy.
Oh, you have it?
Yeah. Right. So the winner was Maximan United. Right. That is the I guess the nickname. Sean Glodo. Right. With 2,402 points. Right.
What?
And close second was Kido Parliament, Keon Paul with 2,390. And again this season, we had about 72 person in All United Fantasy League, right? Again, congrats to the winners, and definitely reach out to us, right? If you're listening, we will definitely reach out to you with your winnings. Yeah.
And what we'll probably do is post it on the in the Facebook page. So it will reach out. It will reach to those who should, because last we'll hear from them, so we don't even know. So we will try a little bit better to contact those who who won the first place. Don't claim, they will go to second place. So thanks again, everybody, for participating in the fantasy football. How do I check and see where I finish? Yes,
I could tell you.
No, not online. Not
on live.
Yeah. So and Jody was part sponsor for the prize. So yeah, Jody. So we will get the information to you as soon as we get it, right? So guys, I mean, I think that brings us to the end of the pod. We will be here again on Sunday to review the final of the
Sunday,
FA Cup.
Sunday's the game.
It's Sunday, right? Right. Yeah. So we'll be
25th,
on.
yeah.
Right. So we're gonna be here on Sunday to review the final of the FA Cup, hoping that we pull off something.
It's
If not,
Saturday, yeah? Is it 25th, right?
it's Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Oh, so okay.
10 a.m.
All right.
Yeah.
So next Saturday, right? So let me hope we could pull off something and have a good, end to the season for us, man. Because I mean everything else, the girls win, the under 18s win everything. The youth team, win everything. So I mean, it's just for the senior team to restore some kind of pride and something,
Yeah.
What was your predictions then?
Jody saying we winning 3-2. So much goals by? I don't see that. I see that at 1-0.
We winning 2-1. If we winning 2-1.
I say we winning 1-0.
If we do have Lissandro Martinez and Rafael Varane in defense,
Varane is starting that game only. The mere fact Varane get no minutes today, I mean,
he got minutes today.
Okay, Varane came on today?
Yeah, he come on.
Yeah,
He come on
yeah,
from
yeah,
that.
yeah,
He got about 20 minutes, 25 minutes.
Okay.
And when he came on earlier, when he come on, I find we look a lot more solid in the back. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah, Varane looked real good. I mean, all right, my last wish. What I say? Yeah, 2-1 sound good. 2-1 sound good. My last wish.
I can see Phil Foden scoring again. So that's 1 goal to City. Boy, I am going to say 1-1 and they're going to penalties.
1-1 to penalty. Who's scoring for me?
All right.
Any penalties or any 1-1?
1-1.
I could see it being either Rasmus or Kobe Menu, honestly.
I say Martial.
Martial gone already, big man.
I say Bruno.
Anthony
If you
Martial.
say that Bruno. And Martial is another one who let we down this season too, because I'm sure that Ten Hag was hoping for at least 10 goals from Martial this season. So that your next 10 goals. So
you gotta get 10 games first on the Martial.
Right? So if let me say you lose 20 from Rashford, you lose 10 from Martial, and then at least I hope, I mean, at least last season we get Anthony had a season. You're hoping for at least 10 goals from Anthony, right? At least 10 thoughts, like 40 goals. Imagine when you get 40 more goals in this team this season. You know what I'll be doing? I'll be waxing lyrical. Let's say it go.
Do us prepare structure for your teams to flourish. For your players to flourish. That's all I say. Yeah, so then I got roll some smoke, I'm telling you. Yeah, fellas. So again, we could be here on Saturday. Let me hope. All right, let me hope is a positive result. Just Jody getting the last comment here. He said, Nico, when Martial display, he performed.
No, when Martial did play, he performed. That was a question mark over that, Jody.
All right.
You see what he's putting fire.
Jody. We go ahead up for that one. So fellas, have a good night. Thanks for all the likes, all the shares, all the comments. Guys, share it up more. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube if you haven't already. All right. We want to really, really promote All in All United and get this, this podcast out there. All right. So have a good night. See you on the next one.
Yes, sir.
Night.